And welcome back, continuing our special coverage for the runoff of the parliamentary elections, the first phase. The Egyptians started on Monday, voting in the runoff of the first phase of the parliamentary elections. 220 candidates are competing for 110 seats in the individual system, and Egyptians abroad began also to continue on Monday voting in the runoff around the first phase of the parliamentary election. The Egyptian abroad are sending their ballots by mails to embassies and consulate instead of voting in person as part of the precautionary measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 during the voting process. To shed more light about the voting for the runoff of the first phase of the parliamentary elections, we are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, our journalist. Mr. Abdellatif, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, yeah.
How are you, sir?
Hi.
Mr. Wahba, how do you see the importance here of this parliamentary elections? Of course, we are witnessing the runoff for the first phase with the participation of many eligible voters for 220 candidates who are competing for 110 seats. How do you see the state's domination to hold the election while taking the precautionary measures and the importance of this election in particular?
Yeah, of course, as you know, that this is the run out of the first phase of the parliamentary elections, and now, as you know, that the Egyptian cabinet, the government, also all the governors in the Egyptian provinces participated in this round, are taking some measures, as you know, because of the last increase in coronaviruses infected in Egypt, and at the same time, all the provinces raised from time to time reports to the cabinet about implementing the measures and the procedures of facing the coronavirus, and they are not. I mean, all the officials in the ballot centers didn't permit for anyone unless he used the face mask.
Indeed.
This is on one hand, and on the second hand, as you know, that this is the last cornerstone of the Egyptian democracy, especially after the Senate elections. This is the second chamber, so we are waiting to complete all the cornerstones of the Egyptian democracy.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Wahba, what role here can we expect from our new parliament? What are we expecting as Egyptian citizens from our new parliament, taking into consideration now that we are having the two chambers of parliament now in place with the formation of the House of Senate, and now after the election of the new parliament, we are having both houses of parliament completing their roles. So what are our expectations here as citizens?
Yeah, of course, as you know, that the citizens and the Egyptian people participated in this election.
Yes.
It's choosing their representative in the two chambers. So I think it will be important for the people to take the right choices for their representative, and especially the two chambers, I mean the Senate and the Parliament at the same time, are, we can say something, it is the connections between the Egyptian citizens and the government. And also they are achieving the Egyptian desires for for improving the standard of life, for improving democracy, for discussing and reforming the new economic policy, especially in the coming 5 or 4 years.
Yes.
Egypt implemented an economic reform program. Egypt achieved, still achieving a positive gross domestic product in the emerging markets, and also maybe one of the first or one of the countries that achieved a positive gross domestic product till now. So the people now are waiting for their representatives to feel and to get the benefits of the economic reform program, to get also the benefits from the amendment of some laws and so on.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Wahba will go now to a short break because of the call for Al-Asr prayer. Our dear viewers will go to a short break now for Al-Asr prayer, and we'll be right back after this. And welcome back, our dear viewers, continuing our special coverage for the voting for the runoff for the first phase of the parliamentary elections. And we, of course, are joined again by Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, our economic journalist, to shed more light on that issue. Welcome back, Mr. Wahba.
Yeah, welcome.
Mr. Wahba, how essential, from your point of view, is practicing the political right of voting to building a real democracy in our country?
Yeah, of course, we are now running the elections, as you know, that with some instability in some countries, especially, as you know, Libya, Syria, Iraq, Sudan, and so on. So I think to contain in our political process, this is a great symbol and a message for the international community that Egypt achieved stability and the peace and the progress during this period. And at the same time, we are planning not only in the current time, but even in the coming years, to be one of the biggest economy in the Middle East, also in African continent at the same time. And if you notice, along with these elections, is that the international institutions issued many reports about the Egyptian stability, the Egyptian economy. Even the IMF and the World Bank and the many financial institutions that praised the Egyptian economy in that period.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Wahba, a total of 4,006 individual candidates and 8 parties list are running in the parliamentary elections. In this election, sir, how do you see the difference here in the participation? We are mentioning here that more parties are taking part. How will that enrich the political life in the country and increase the effectiveness of the House of Representatives from your point of view?
Of course, if we compare the political bodies, the political parties, and so on participated in the elections, and also the number of individuals candidates, you will find a real competition in the political atmosphere of Egypt. This is from one side a competition between the political parties, and on the other side a competition between the individuals themselves and also the political parties. This is, of course, a healthy political climate in Egypt just now. And the Egyptian people are so more, or they have a great conscious of their goals, of their aims, of their participating in this election.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Wahba, actually, 25% of the seats are actually allocated for more youth and women. How do you see, sir, the making of the new House of Representatives more different here with the participation of more women and youth candidates in that particular election, sir?
Yeah, of course, this is an important point, especially as you know that since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to power, intended to give empowerment for women in Egypt.
Yes.
Not only in the political scene, but also in economy, in social work, in participating in the Egyptian cabinet. We have many women just now as ministers and so on. But to give them the same chance to participate in the Egyptian elections, this is, I think it is important, as you know, that because the women are completely different from the men who have their business, who have money and so on. But the women depends upon their skill, upon their cleverness in dealing with the Egyptian elections.
Yes. Sir, what issues should the new House of Representatives tackle as the government proceed with the successful economic reform program, as you have kindly mentioned, and the developmental projects which we are all seeing and we are all proud of, Mr. Wahba?
As I said before, that Egypt achieved economic success and progress during the last years. So I think they will represent, I mean, the members of the parliament will represent at the same time the ambitions of the Egyptian people, how to achieve the ambitions of the Egyptian people in coming years. This is, of course, it depends upon the cleverness and the skills of the new candidates and so on. I think it is important for Egypt just now to find cooperation between the legislative parties and the cabinet and the government itself.
Yes. Finally, sir, the expats are voting today actually again for the runoff of the first phase of the parliamentary election. Expats are voting and are represented in the upcoming parliament. Why is the expats' participation here in the political life important, and how does it serve the nation?
As you know, during the last decades, I mean, they suffered from preventing them or preventing them from their political rights. Now we are like all and the greatest democracy in the world, will let for the Egyptian abroad to participate and to choose. This is, of course, to choose at the same time their representative. This makes their ties with the homeland more strong, and the same to increase their loyalties. And Egypt can get also at the same time the benefits from the Egyptian approach or from the Egyptian approach as they are representative for at the same time for the Egyptian democracy.
Indeed. Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, our journalist, thank you very much, sir, for being with us today and for your very precious input. Our dear viewers will go to a short break, and after that we'll be back, so stay tuned.